Welcome back to my channel. What's up, guys? My name is Whitney Lynn. If you don't know, now you know. For this story time, you're gonna want to pour yourself some wine, get some popcorn, some snacks, something, because it's quite the story. In my last video, I had told you guys about Amanda and Caesar and how I had no idea that they were even in the picture until I found out that they were in the picture when I was 5 months pregnant. So we're on to girl number 2. Even though that, Amanda was first technically, and then it was me, and then it was this other woman, we're just gonna label it like that. Let's get started. So for a while after Amanda and all of that cooled down, and Steven was like, you know what, it's okay, like I just don't want him in my life, blah, 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 let's focus on us. We went ahead and did that because ultimately, even though I want Steven to have, a relationship with Caesar, and more so Caesar to have a relationship with, Isaac and Ezzy, like it just didn't happen that way. He wasn't wanting it. So now I am pregnant with my daughter and everything like that, and we were so happy and I was so excited. My daughter turns 2 months old. There's this precious little baby. She's super cute and I'm so excited and happy to have her, and you would think that everything was like good, like happy right now, like I just had a baby. And I don't know if you guys remember Words with Friends. It's basically like a phone app, and you play like Scrabble almost with like friends. You can get their screen name, and then you can kind of like, play against each other, and you can type while you're playing. And the game doesn't have to be live. So basically I can make a move, and then I can type, haha, like you suck or whatever. And then I have to wait for the other person to make their move, and they can write back to me. So I noticed that Steven was on his phone a lot. So remember, Steven worked like 12, 14-hour days because Steven was a hard worker, as I've mentioned in the previous videos. Steven would never not have a job. He has never not had a job since he was 13, 14. So if he's going to have a job, he's most likely going to have 2. 1 in the morning and 1 at night, which is why I didn't have to work. When he was home, I noticed that like he'd be short-tempered with Isaac, and he would hang out with, we would call her mamas, and he would like play for a little bit, but then like he's always on his phone. And for someone that's like never home, you're kind of like, hey, like have family time, like we don't see you all day, like and it wasn't like that at all. It was just like very distant. And a girl can tell, okay, when something is going on, like your man, okay? Like So I freaking knew. I felt it in my bones. So I was like, prove me wrong. So there was this day, okay? There was this day that Steven left his phone. I think he was going to work, and he worked literally maybe like 4 minutes from the apartment that we had in Villa Park. We had a 2-bedroom apartment that was roach infested, and that's all we could afford at that time. I think rent was either $800 or $900, and we barely were making it with 2 children now. My role was like the money. I handled all the money that came in, and I divided it up to pay all the bills and the kids and the cooking. That was literally my entire roles, like all of them. His role was to work. He was working so many hours, but like there just wasn't enough money. Like there was a lot of times where, I'm at home all day with 2 kids, a very, very small baby that's crying and whining the entire time, and I'm just like, where are you? There would be plenty of nights where he just wouldn't come back until, maybe 1 a.m., maybe 12. I just never really understood like why all the time. So like I said, he left his phone one day, and I was like, because I saw it there on the ledge, and I was like, I gotta get in there. that's what I did. I freaking opened his phone. I didn't see no text messages that I didn't like. I didn't see no contacts that I didn't like. I didn't see freaking anything. And he barely had a social media presence. So it was kind of like, there's just something fishy going on here. So I have to keep looking. Like, I have to keep looking. So, I mean, I had all night, right? Because he doesn't come home. So I'm looking through photos, I'm looking through email, whatever is on this phone. And I remember putting the phone down and I was like, it's bothering me. There is something that I'm missing. Like, I need to find it. Like, there's something up. I freaking feel it in my freaking bones. Like, okay. So I like took a break and I remember like going back into the phone and I was like, words with friends. Words with friends has messaging. Let's check it out. And guess what? We're gonna call her Willa, okay? So Willa was messaging Steven. Okay, they were playing many games of words with friends, right? And I only knew who this was because, you know, of the screen name. It said, well, it said her whole name. So I met Willa at his job. Yes, Willa worked with Steven. So let's keep in mind that this place where he worked was like a 24-hour diner basically. And, you know, he was the cook and she was the waitress. And so basically it was very small. So they really only have 2 people working at a time. 2, a cook and a waitress. So I see that the name on here is Willa's name, and immediately my heart dropped because I knew exactly who this was. And I had a feeling when I met her, when I went to her job about a few weeks before then, and she met me and my newborn baby and my son and said hello and whatever else. But I guess that wasn't enough because I see their messages. Baby, you're so sexy. Can't wait to see you later. I can't wait to hang out. Da 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 da. And I'm there like, beef, for real. Like, I am at the crib with your 2 kids. Like, beef. And if you guys watched the last video, you would know that he was the one that wanted the second baby. He begged me for another child. Begged me for another child. And then was probably doing this all along and I just never noticed. Never thought about it or cared or whatever it was, okay? So that's where we're at. I'm sitting here, my heart dropped, and I don't know what to do with myself. I called my best friend Melissa, and I was like, yo, like, what am I supposed to do right now? Like, what is this? I'm about to literally go up there and, like, ruin my entire life because I'm so upset. I'm so mad. Because, like, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? Okay? I'm crying. I'm upset. I don't know what to do. Like, forget him. Like, you don't respect me. You don't respect the family we created. You don't care about these kids. Like, bruh. You are done. You're done. You're done. So that's what I did. I literally called my mom and I was like, you won't believe. And I was like, I'm getting out of here. You know, I'm kicking his ass out right now. And she's like, oh my God, Whitney, what's going on? She goes, how do you know? How do you know? So I told her and I was like, I'm getting out of here. Da, 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 da. And she was like, okay, you know. So that's exactly what I did. I threw all of his clothes in garbage bags and I put them outside of my door. And I was just like, that's it. Like, you're done. I couldn't say nothing to him because, again, he left his phone upstairs with me. He didn't have it. So he had no idea of any of this. And I was done. I was like, you know what? Whatever I got to do. I got no job. I got no car. I have absolutely no money. I have these 2 babies and I just need to figure it out. Steven comes back really late. Starts knocking on the door. What's going on? What is all this? How could you do this? I don't answer the door at all. Nothing. So for about an hour, he finally leaves. I'm sure he's seen his phone at some point the next day. And yeah, it was trashed. It took him a few days to get a phone. And I remember him calling me like I had to get a new phone. Like, what is wrong with you? Why are you so nuts? Like, what's happening? And I said, well, you didn't tell me that you and Willa, like, had a thing. You didn't tell me, like, all these late nights were with Willa, right? That you were going over her house, her parents' house, and you were sneaking in and out the window, when you should have been home with me and your children. Yeah, I mean, I saw all the messages, you know? So I want nothing to do with you. Leave me alone. And that's it. Take care of your children, and that's as far as it needs to go. Steven was just like, what are you talking about? Like, bro, the gaslighting was crazy. He was like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do that. You're crazy. And I'm like, you're crazier for, like, thinking that, like, what you guys wrote, like, I'm just making it up in my head. Like, what? It was something I will never forget, ever. Because following that day was pretty much the hardest time that I had with 2 children. Because, like I mentioned, I didn't have a job. I didn't have any money. I didn't even have a car. So I had this friend from high school. Her name was Gabby. And Gabby, she had no kids, and she was the manager at a tanning salon. And me and Gabby were pretty close still, and it was like, yo, Gabby, like, look at what Steven did. She's like, I never liked Steven, like, F Steven, like, girl, I got you. Like, I run this tanning salon, so I'm gonna help you. Like, come in, I'm looking for girls, like, you can work with me. So I was like, okay, period. I have one other job. I honestly cannot remember what it was, but I had one other job that was part-time. It was like Payless or something. It was literally Payless. And then I was like, okay, and then I can work with you a few days. Like, this is perfect. So I end up working 3 jobs, 3 part-time jobs. And, you know, I had people pick me up, take me, you know, like, things like that. And it was really, really difficult. I had friends watching my children. Melissa helped out. Like, it was just, like, it was very hard. Like, very, very hard. I had no education other than a high school diploma. Like, I literally had nothing. Like, nothing. And thankfully, I was on, like, WIC and food stamps and stuff, so that really, like, saved us. I want to say a few months passed, and I couldn't make the rent. My mom, maybe about February, March, got her income tax return. And she was like, look, like, this is all the money I got. Like, I got it all from income tax, but, you know, you need it more than me. Like, you're literally going to lose your apartment. Like, I'm going to help you. I think it was like $300 for that first month. Or the second month, I was alone. So then for the 3rd month, I had nothing. Like, I literally had nothing because babies need diapers. He wasn't helping. He was never coming to the house to see the kids. Never coming to help out, drop off diapers, like, even spend time with them. Nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. And I remember texting his mother, texting his sister, texting him and being like, what are you doing? Like, are you guys gonna help? Like, I didn't do this. Like, your son, your brother, like, you did this, you know? Like, so how is this all on me, you know? Like, I'm the one, like, struggling. And I honestly think it was a form of punishment at that time. Like, okay, you want to do this to me? You want to be like this with me? Like, this is what we're going to do. You're going to see how hard it is. Like, why didn't you guys tell me that this hair was sticking up? And that's so cruel and so wrong. But it's okay. Because then, you know, I just said, you know what? I need to put my pride aside and I need to move in with my mom. And I need to never go through this again. I need to make sure that my kids, you know, grow up better than this. Like, this was a roach-infested apartment. And when I say infested, I mean infested. Because when you open up the, you know, under the sink, you know, you open that up, they're all crawling in there. They like the dark places. They like the moist places. You know, like, they like that. So, like, they're all up everywhere in all the cabinets. It was really bad, but it was all we could afford. End up moving in with my mom. But then, like the saying says, they always come back. At this point, I already started going to school. Everest. I don't know if you guys remember Everest, but I went there for medical administration. And basically, you know, you're wearing those like maroon scrubs, and you know, you gotta go every single day and things like that. So I just wanted to make something of myself. I literally was like, there's no other way, and I'm not gonna sit here and allow somebody to make me like a housewife, and then when they decide to mess around, I'm just left with nothing. You know, that's not the impression I wanted to leave on my kids, and I just knew I had to do something for myself, because anytime I mentioned going to school with him, he was like, no, but I need the car. No, but this. No. Oh, why do you want to go to school? Oh, there's going to be like smart guys there. You know, very insecure and stuff. So I never felt like I could. But now I could. So I did. So I started going to classes, and slowly but surely he started coming around. He started picking up the kids and saying hello. But then that stopped. Because, like, he saw me in the scrubs, like, oh, they look good on you, they look cute on you, like, oh, you're in college now, da-da-da-da. And I was just like, yeah, very short. And then he started, like, texting me, like, I missed you, like, slowly little text messages. I'm thinking of you, like, while he was at work, like, just photos, like, just, you know, flirting, basically. And I was like, what happened to Willa? Y'all broke up, it didn't work. He would tell me that, like, no, I don't even like her, like, you know, I miss my family. And you know, when you have a family and the guy wakes up, he has a wake-up call, and he all of a sudden wants his family, it's like waterworks. You're like, oh, my heart. And I was like, oh my God, maybe he like realized, and like, okay, you know. And so he's like texting me all the time. The thing is, back then it was Facebook, and I found Willa's profile, because you know, you be stalking, and I was like, hey, like, can you tell your man to stop messaging me? Classic. And she was like, what? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, please leave me out of it. Like, very, like, I don't know. Well, I have receipts. Like, tell him to leave me alone. And she's like, really? Like, I don't know. He was telling me that, like, you know, you guys aren't hanging out anymore. Like, it's not even like that. Like, that when, you know, you came to the restaurant, like, you guys weren't even together. You were just, like, you know, for the kids and blah, blah, blah. I was like, that doesn't even make sense. If we weren't even together, I would not be going out to eat at his job. Like, it makes no sense. But moving on. Me and her kind of kept in touch. Then there was this day that he goes, I really miss you, and I'm going to come over right now. Like, please, I want my family. I'm so tired of this. I talked to my mom, and my mom was like, this is what she told me. She told me, your family has never left. You're the one that left. So go get your family. Like, like in quotes, that's exactly what he had told me. And I was like, okay, like, you know where I am. So I texted her and I say, hey, he's on his way. And she goes, no way. He just literally told me that he was going somewhere or something. And I was like, no, he's coming here. And she goes, okay, so when he gets there then, because I don't think like screenshotting was like a thing then. She goes, okay, when he gets there, can you like call me? And then this way I can listen. So I was like, okay, bet. Like, we doing this. She thinks I'm lying, you know? Like, but like they always come back, bro. Like, wherever you take them from, they always come back at some point, because they're going to see that person living without them and breathing without them, looking good without them. So that's what happened. He came over. We were in the stairwell, and I put her on the phone. I had it on speaker, and I put it right next to my butt. You know, you're sitting on the stairs, and it just lays right there. It was like that. And he was crying. He was literally crying, and I was nervous that she wasn't going to be able to hear. So I literally picked up the phone, and I remember kind of like holding it like this. And I'm like, what's wrong? Why are you crying, you know? Because just in case she can't make it out, like, she needs to know what's going on. And he was like, I just miss my family. Like, I just don't know what to do. And, like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, girl, like, you don't know who you're messing with. I've been dealing with this kid. He's been lying to me since I can remember. you have no idea. Like, she needs to run. Like, just like I should have ran, she needs to run because he is not the one. He is not the one. I said, so are you done with her? Like, are you done? And he's like, I'm so done. Like, that was nothing for me. Like, me and her are nothing. Like, that was so stupid for going back to her. I'm so dumb. Like, you know, like, literally pleading his case that we were more important to him and that he should have never left us and blah, 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 blah. So I was like, okay, just playing along, you know. I'm like, okay. He's like, can I get a kiss? I was like, no, you can get a hug, but like, no. So that was that. So he left. She texted me and she goes, oh my, like literally 2 minutes before he left, she texted me that, you know, like the call ended or whatever. So then I call her and I go, hey. And she's like, I heard everything. She's like, so he was crying. And I was like, yes. And he said this and this. Did you hear that? And she goes, yeah. She's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, I'm so sorry for like not listening to you and, you know, just thinking that what he was telling me was true. But you have to understand, like, I just didn't know. Like, he's really good with lying. And I go, yes, he's very good with lying. But please, for the future, know that, you know, if the wife or the girlfriend or whatever with the children are around in the picture, whether they're, like, separated, if they're living together, like, it's a no. You know, like, it's absolutely no. And she was just like, okay, well, you know, thank you so much. Like, I feel like you saved me because, like, I'm done. She goes, you can have him now because I am done. And I said, I don't want him. Time goes on, and I think about 6 months pass, and, you know, he had claimed to be working on himself. And our conversations were better, and everything was, like, you know, like, more flirty and fun, and it seemed like he was taking us more seriously. Like, he would work and then come see us, and, you know, things were a little bit better. Maybe, you know, he was, like, different and stuff like that, and we ended up giving it another shot. Needless to say, there is a girl number 3, and she was not as lucky as Willa. She was about as lucky as me. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video, and don't be a Willa. Bye.